Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about a really easy way you can play Superstition by Stevie Wonder. But if you want to play along with the recording, actually, he's tuned down a half step. So you'd actually have to retune your guitar and loosen up your tuners a little bit to kind of get to E flat, B flat, G flat, D flat, A flat, and E flat. But we're just going to do this lesson in standard tuning. And it starts with a really cool intro lick where you take 5th fret on the low E string and kind of do a hammer on the 7th fret. So I'm kind of playing 5th fret up with the first finger and then kind of putting my 3rd finger down on 7th fret to kind of get the sound to carry. And then we're going to go A string on the 5th and then A string on the 7th. So we got kind of 5, 7, 5, 7 is kind of an intro lick to our main lick that goes through the most of the song, where we play the open E and then 7 on the A and then 5 on the A and then 7 on the A and then 5 on the D and then 7 on the A and then 5 on the A and then 5 on the A again, and then we do a 5-7 hammer on the A string. So I'm kind of playing the 5th and kind of putting my 3rd finger down to get the sound to carry, and then going 5th on the low E, and then 7 on the low E, and then 5 on the A, 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 7 on the A, and then 5 on the A twice, and then 5 with a hammer on the 7, and then we kind of start that over again. So we're kind of going open 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 5, 5, 7, hammer on 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 5, 5, 7. And the notes you're actually playing is kind of going E, E, D, E, G, E, D, 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 E, A, B, D, E, G, E, D, 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 E. And that lick kind of goes through the tune actually, but a lot of times on that verse, what that lick's really kind of implying is an E minor chord. And the way you play E minor, first finger is going to go to the A string on the 2nd fret, second finger is going to go to the D string on the 2nd fret, and if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really sad. And on our verses, actually, we just stay on the E minor. We actually do a lot of the E minor. And there are a lot of different ways that you could actually kind of work that to make it more interesting with strum patterns. And one way, actually one of my favorite 4/4 strum patterns is something that's really easy to kind of jump into, is something called down, down, up, up, down, up. So we tried it that way. We'd have down, down, up, down, E minor, 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 down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up. Now another way, or another thing that you can kind of add to that though, is bass notes. And on that first down of the down, down, up, down, you could add in a bass note for the E minor chord, which is the low E string. So you can play the low E and then do your down, up, down, up. So E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, up. Now the down, down, up, down strum pattern though is working off of something called an 8th note. And what an 8th note is if you're tapping your foot at the beat, if you were dividing that into 2 parts, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is a long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And what I mean by that is like you take the E minor and do it down for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you do on the first beat. On the second beat, you do a down on 1, down on 3, and an up on 4. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then on the third beat, you do an up on 2, down on 3. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. On the fourth beat, you go down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all together, and you have to kind of go kind of quick to get this to match up with the drums, but it can be very cool to do. Is you got long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, come on, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, come on, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, come on, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. Now if you wanted to, you could throw in your bass notes with that strum pattern too, so you could throw in the bass on the first down. So you could do bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, basses and make it sound more funky. So on the, you could do a bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, up, down, up. And we try it that way. You'd have E minor with a bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, down. E minor with a bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, down. E minor bass, bass, down, down, up, bass, down, down. E minor bass, down, down, up, bass, down, down. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of approach that verse. And then there's a really cool trumpet lick that comes in kind of in the second half of our verse, where you go 9th fret on the G string, and then 7th fret on the G, and then 9th on the G, and then 7 on the D, and then 8th on the D, and then 9th on the D, and then 7 on the G, and then 9 on the D, and then 7 on the G, and then 9 on the G, and then kind of play 9 on the G again, and then 7 on the G, and then 9 on the G, and then we take 10 on the B string and kind of do a bend on it. So I'm kind of playing that note and pressing up and into the guitar at the same time, and then go to 8th fret on the B, and then 9th fret on the G. So you're going 9, 7, 9, 7, 8, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, 9, 7, 9, 10, bend 8, 9, 9, 7, 9, 7, 8, 9, 7, 9, 7, 9, 9, 7, 9, 10, bend 8, 9. And there's a cool little tag actually that comes in after the chorus actually that just to go over that lick too, kind of that sax lick, where you play 9 on the G, and then 7 on the G, and then 6 on the G, and then 9 on the D, and then 6 on the G, and then 7 on the A. So 9, 7, 6, 9, 6, 7 on the A. So it might be something else kind of cool to kind of add in. But then from our verse part, we're going into our chorus part. And on our chorus, we start on a B7 chord. And the way you play B7 or B dominant 7, first finger goes to the D string on the first fret. Second finger is going to go to the A string on the second fret. Third finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret. The pinky is going to go to the high E on the second fret. And if you strum all, or just the A string to the high E string, that'll get you your clearest sound with that, and that's called B7 or B dominant 7. And one really easy way to kind of approach the chorus actually is we're going to take the B7, and then from the B7 we're kind of going to a C7, but one really easy way to kind of imply a C7 is to take that B7 shape that you're on, and we're just going to slide that over one fret. So now I've got first finger on the D string on the second fret, second finger on the A on the third fret, third finger on the G on the third fret, and the pinky on the high E on the third fret. And if you strum just the A string to the high E with that, that's kind of implying a C7 chord. And then from the C7, we're going to be going back to the B7 chord. But then we go to a B flat 7. One really easy way to play a B flat 7 is to take that shape and lift off the first finger and slide it down so that everybody's on first fret. So now I've got a second finger on the A string first, third finger on the G string first, and then pinky on the high E on the first fret. And then from there we'd be going to an A major chord. The way you play A major, first finger is going to go to the D string on the second fret, the second finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret, the third finger is going to go to the B string on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord. Now just as an aside, actually in this song, with all the 7 chords that we have, you can actually use an A7 chord instead of the A major. And the way you play A7 actually is you can lift off the second finger, which is a dangerous finger to lift. And so now I've got first finger on the D string on the second, third finger on the B string on the second. Or you can kind of do that same voicing with different fingers too. And that's called A7. And then from the A7 we go back to the B7 chord. Kind of end our chorus. So on the chorus we got B7, C7, B7, B flat 7, A7. And then we go to another B7 and kind of do a down, up, and then kind of kill the strings with the right hand. So I'm kind of taking my right hand, just kind of throwing it down on top of the string. So I got down, up, kill it. So there are a lot of different ways to do it with the strum pattern on our verse, and we could take those ideas and then kind of apply it to the chorus. So one way to do the chorus strum pattern wise would be doing a down, up on a lot of the chords and kind of saving the down, up for the A major. So we'd have B7 with down, C7 down, B7 down, B flat down, A7 down, up, down, B7 down, up, kill it. So that would be one way to kind of do it. And if you wanted to add in the basses, you've really only got enough time to do a bass down up on most of the chords. And all your bass notes for the B7 and the C7 and the B flat 7 and the A are actually on the A string. So on the B7, you'd have the bass, down up C7 with the bass, down up B7 with the bass, down up B flat with the bass, down up A7 with the bass, down up, down B7, down up, kill it. If you're doing it that way. If you're doing the 16th note feel, with the longer down, because of the speed of the chords, actually, you really only got enough time to do a down, down, down up on each one. And it might feel kind of quick, actually, when you're working it. But just to try it that way, you'd have B7 with a down, 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 C7 down, 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 B7 down, 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 B flat down, 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 A down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, B7 down, up, kill it. Another way to do it is kind of throwing in the basses with those. So on most of those, we'd have just that bass down, down, up kind of on each one. So you have B7 with the bass, down, down, C with the bass, down, down, B7 with the bass, down, down, B flat with the bass, down, down, A with the bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, B7 down, up. So that might be something else you want to kind of try. Now for myself, actually, what can also feel really good is to work more off of bar chord shapes for these changes. So for the B7, for instance, instead of doing it in a root position using the open strings, you could actually go all the way to 7th fret on the low E string as kind of a full bar, 2nd finger on the G string on the 8th fret, 3rd finger on the A string on the 9th fret, and if you strum all those together, that's another way to play B7. And then another way to play C7 actually would be taking that shape and then sliding it over to 8th fret. So now I've got an 8th fret bar, 2nd finger on the G string on the 9, and then 3rd finger on the A on the 10. And then for the B7, we could kind of slide back to that on the 7th fret bar. For the B flat 7, you could actually kind of slide that back one more fret. So now I've got bar on the 6th fret, 2nd finger on the G string 7, 3rd finger on the A string 9 or 8. And then for the A7, you could slide that shape back one more fret. The 5th fret is a bar. And then you could go all the way back to the B7 on the 7th fret. So we tried that with just our down, down, up for most of those chords, and then kind of our full strum pattern on the A7. We'd have B7 down, down, C7 down, down, C7 down, down, B flat down, down, A down, down, up, down, B7 down, up, kill it. Or if we tried that with the bass down up, with all of these bar chords that we're doing, they're actually called E root bar chords. So they actually, all the roots for the chords are actually on the E string. So when we're doing B7 to start with, the B note's actually on the low E string on the 7, so that's where your bass would be. So we try it with bass down up on most of those chords. We have B7 with the bass, down up C7 with the bass, down up B7 with the bass, down up B flat with the bass, down up A with the bass, down up, down B7, down up, kill it. Or if we tried it with kind of that bass down up idea from the 16th, we'd have B7 with the bass, down, C7 bass, down, B7 bass, down, B flat bass, down, A bass, down, down, B7 down, up. And then kind of the kill it idea there too. That might be something else you want to kind of try. And then actually after that first verse and our first chorus, then we're going back to our verse part. And there are lots of different ways to do this. But I think I'm just going to kind of, and you could even go back to the intro like that. 7 5 7 5 7 5 5 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 7 5 5 5 7. Or you can kind of work your strum pattern around it those different ways. So I'm just going to take the bass, down, up, bass, down, up, just to try that. So on the verse, I've got bass, down, up, bass, down, up, down, my 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 bass, down, up, bass, down, up, down. And then we'd be back on our chorus, and actually you could take that bass, down, up idea and apply it to your chorus too. So we tried the chorus that way. You'd have B7 with the bass, down, C with the bass, down, B7 bass, down, B flat bass, down, A bass, down, up, bass, down, B7 down, and then kind of that kill it idea. And then we'd be back to our E minor again. So we'd have our bass, down, up, bass, down, up, down, my bass, down, up, bass, down, up, down. And then there's kind of a breakdown that's just part of our chorus actually that kind of turns up midway through the tune. So we did that way. We'd have B7 with the bass, down, C with the bass, down, B7 bass, down, B flat bass, down, A bass, down, up, bass, down, B7 down. And then we'd be back to our E minor again. So we got our bass, down, up, bass, down, my bass, down, up, bass, down, my bass, down, up, bass, down, you can kind of play through it. Now for doing lead parts, actually a lot of the leads and the licks actually for this tune, and the tuning that we're doing it in right now, is something, or working around a scale called E minor pentatonic scale. And what an E minor pentatonic scale is pentatonic means it's a 5-note scale, and basically E minor pentatonic or G major pentatonic is built out of G's and A's and B's and D's and E's, which is all your open strings. So you got E and A and D and G and B and E, they're all kind of part of that scale. And that's a very funky, cool, bluesy kind of scale, actually. So if you worked it in different parts across the neck, there are a lot of places we could play those notes across the guitar. So if you went to the low E on the 3rd fret, that's a G note that's part of the scale. A string on the 2nd is part of the scale, it's a B note. 2nd on the D is an E note, part of the scale. The G on the 2nd fret is kind of an A note, and it's part of the scale. 3rd fret on the B is a part of the scale, because that's a D note, and 3rd fret on the high E is kind of part of the scale too. So you could kind of work just that 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3 from the low E string to the high E string is kind of a number scenario just to get used to where the scale is. And the next piece actually would be all the fifths but G's 4. So you'd have 5, 5, 5, and then 4, and then 5, and 5. And then the next piece is all the 7s but B's 8. So you'd have 7, 7, 7, 7, and then A is 7. And then the next piece would be 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. So you have 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10 from the low E to the high E. And then on the 12th fret, all the 12th fret notes are part of it because all the open strings are part of it. And then over the 12th fret, everything starts over again. So 15th fret is like 3rd fret, 14th fret is like 2nd fret, and then we have 15, 14, 14, 14, and then 15, 15 at the top. Now a lot of times these get kind of put into 2-note patterns where you play the open and then go to the 3rd and kind of do 2 notes on each of these. And sometimes they're given pattern names, like pattern 1 or pattern 2. Pattern 3. So there's ways of kind of putting these notes together to kind of make cool little patterns. But the main idea really is that the scale can be kind of your alphabet, and the idea is that you want to try and see what kind of words you can say with the scale, and then kind of convey like your musical ideas with pentatonic scale to kind of jam it out. So the idea here, like one of my favorite patterns actually is that very last one. I know on acoustic this can be a little challenging, but kind of doing 12 to 15, 12 to 14, 12 to 14, 12 to 14, 12 to 15, 12 to 15. And that's kind of pattern 1, but you're working it as a movable pattern that can be a little bit more useful later on. And there are a lot of different lick ideas that you could play around with in that scale. For instance, you could do hammer-ons where you play the first note of the scale and kind of put your 3rd finger down, kind of what we were talking about in that lead-off lick. Or you could do pull-offs where you kind of play the 15 note and kind of let your finger kind of fall off the string to get the sound of the 12th fret note. Or you could do slides where you kind of play one note and kind of slide or keep enough pressure on the string to get the sound to kind of carry to the next note of the scale. Or you could do down slides as kind of an idea. Or you could work bends where you kind of play the note and press into the guitar at the same time to kind of get a bend kind of sound. So at the very end, after that, when you're kind of jamming it out, you might want to grab that scale and just kind of see what you can say with it. So that could be a really cool song to kind of work lead guitar stuff. I guess that's my point there. But that's the basics of how you can strum through Superstition by Stevie Wonder. So good luck!